another video on the chicken pilaf that I made. So I'm going to stick with the same recipe, and I've got my homemade. I kind of made it because I've made some preserved lemons, and I've got loads of preserved lemons. So I thought we'll have another go. And then I was in the local independent supermarket, and they had in, which I wanted to try, whole barley, like that, and whole wheat as well. Well, whole wheat, obviously. And then I've also got some pearl barley as well. So I normally make it with rice pilaf, but I was kind of thinking, well, let's have a go at the wheat whole or the barley whole barley. Not going to use the pearl barley, but might do actually. So I thought what we really kind of need to do first is kind of cook those to see how they turn out, because I don't want to cook the whole dish and then kind of realise that they're not particularly very nice to eat in a pilaf form. I've also got some things to use up as well. So I've got some stock, which was I cooked some partridges in, so we'll use that as a bit of stock, because it was it chicken stock? No, I don't think it was chicken stock to start off with, but it was some kind of stock, and it's nice and jellified and it's got loads of flavour. So we're going to use that, and then as well, I made chicken stock this week, and I did a second boil on the bones. So I've got like you can't really see that because but I did a second boil of the bones, which has produced an inferior stock, but kind of okay for what I'm going to use it for. So I'm going to use that, and then I've got some rubbish wine that I bought for something else. What did I do with it? Oh, I cooked the partridges in it. So I still got some cheap rubbishy wine, so we'll throw some of that in as well. And then if you haven't got chicken stocks, chicken stock cubes are fine. I'll do the recipe with both. And then we've got some whole coriander, we've got some cardamom pods, we've got preserved lemons, and then I'm going to throw in some turmeric as well. So we'll cook that first, and we'll kind of see how that turns out, and then that will dictate if I want to do the pearl barley or some rice instead. So I just kind of need to get an idea of, will that cook in the same amount of time that the rice will cook in when I still liberate it in the oven. So I'll cook those just in a pan together. I'm not going to do them in separate pans, because I'm running out of pans because I'm doing other things with pans at the moment. So we'll just cook it in a pan, just like a tablespoon of each, and then we'll just be able to kind of see if they kind of work. Right, so they're cooked and they are tender. They're a bit boring, if I'm honest. They're a bit boring. So, if I had a choice, I'd actually use pearl barley instead of these. I've tasted them both. They're alright. The barley, I think it's just pearl barley is barley without the husk, if I'm honest. So I've decided that I'm going to use the wheat, the whole wheat, because it's slightly nicer. It's the husk that kind of puts me off with the whole barley, but we get that with the wheat. So it's just not as starchy as pearl barley, and I think that would make a nicer pilaf. Still probably not as nice as rice. No, actually, no. I think the pearl barley would be as nice. So I'm going to use the whole wheat. I'm going to put that in as well. So what is the recipe? It's a whole chicken. There's about one. There is exactly one preserved lemon in there. There's about 20 olives. There's 4 onions. That's slightly different from the original recipe. So there's more onions in this one. There's half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of coriander seeds, and about 5 cardamom pods. Yeah, this is going to go on too much, so I'll just put that in there like that. About 700 grams worth of your grain of choice. No, 400 grams worth of grain of choice, and then there's going to be 700 grams. 700 millilitres of liquid. What else is in there? I've forgotten something else that's gone in there. No, we need to put some salt in. So that's kind of quite fine. And I've browned off the some pepper as well. And I've browned off the chicken as well. So I'll put pepper in, and then, so the liquid is, I've put in wine, there's about 150 millilitres, no, about 200 millilitres of wine, and then the rest is chicken stock, totaling 700 millilitres in all. I'm going to put it in the oven at 150 degrees, but I'm just going to bring it up to temperature. Oh, and there's some peppercorns in the bottom as well, which was from the partridge. So I'm going to just warm it, I'm just going to bring it up to temperature on top of the stove first, and then I'm going to put it in the oven to cook. So I'll just brown the chicken, I haven't cooked it any more than that. I'm just going to get some heat into it on top of the stove first, and then it's going to go into the oven at 150 degrees. I've already said that, I'm repeating myself, but I'm in a rush to go out, and it's just going to cook while I'm out. I think the whole wheat will take about an hour and a half to cook, which is about how long I'm going to be out. Probably slightly longer than the chicken needs, is that, but it'll just mean that it's all nice and tender and falling off the bone. But we'll see what it looks like when we get back. We've had 2 hours. Chicken's done. Not going to stay there, it's going to fall over. Let's put it on there out of the way. So, chicken's done, because it's wanting to fall off the bone. The wheat hasn't puffed up as much as I thought it would do. I thought it would have been a little bit more like pearl barley. Pearl barley would have fattened up like rice does. But we live and learn, don't we? So I kind of think that pearl barley or rice is the way to go. But it's nice. Could do with less liquid. Could do with less liquid, but it's nice. I'm going to enjoy it. So, just a kind of little experiment with a different type of grain. I don't know what else to do with it. I'll have a think. I might buy some more sometime and see what else. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy that. So, this is a little afterthought about the whole wheat. It tasted nicer the second bowl that I had. So obviously it gave the wheat more time to soak up the flavours from the chicken and the stock. So I kind of think maybe for the best flavour it's going to taste better today. So maybe half cooking the wheat. So preparing everything, sweating off the onions, rendering a bit of fat out of the onions, out the chicken, and cooking the onions in that fat, and then kind of adding the stock and the wine and the herbs and the wheat and bringing it up to temperature, and then allowing it to cool for 24 hours, and then the next day cooking the chicken in it, in the wheat, would probably give a much better flavour to the wheat. But that seems like a long way of doing things. I think what I'm getting at is it's not absorbent as like a pearl barley or a rice, and they kind of take on flavour a lot easier. So it's nice, I really enjoyed it. It just kind of doesn't soak in the flavour as much. So if you kind of wanted to get around that, I think cooking it 24 hours beforehand and then cooking the with all the herbs and things in, and then cooking the chicken in it the day after would give you a better result. Or just use rice or pearl barley.